last 24 hours. Powered by Yiddish24, provided to you by The Click.
Good morning, and a gitten Pirim. Today is Wednesday, Parshas Yisro Yiddish and Shvat, Tufshim Paivuv on Edge. My name is Gershy Schwarcz, and I'm your host on Edge. Did you know that today is Purim, Pirim Saragossa? The story goes back many years ago in Saragossa in Spain. We'll talk about it soon. But first, I am so confused. I think it's time to get organized.
Exactly.
Oh, hello. What's your name?
Sroli Schoenfeld, the business organizer. You know why you're confused?
Why?
It comes to business owners a lot of times. They have very good strategy. They have good goals set in place. But the problem happens when it comes to the back end of the company is not properly set up. In order to be able to grow and focus on your vision, on your goals, you need to be properly set up in the back end of your company, which means delegation strategies, have the right hires, anything and everything that has to do with the day-to-day operation of the company.
Exactly, and this is why you should call 347-939-9959 and Srulina. And answer the phone, and he will take care of you, so you should be a successful businessman. Okay, now, the United States military shot down an Iranian drone on Tuesday after it aggressively flew toward an American aircraft carrier. The drone, a Shahed 139, was spotted moving toward the USS Abraham Lincoln in the Arabian Sea. An F-35 fighter jet was right away sent up and destroyed the drone in the air. Officials from CENTCOM said the drone kept coming even after the Navy tried to warn it away. They said this kind of harassment from Iran will not be tolerated. Okay, the situation remains very tense as Iran has already launched another drone to follow the same aircraft carrier. This new drone was spotted near the Strait of Hormuz, the same area where Islamic terrorists from the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, who is now recognized by Italy, Germany, and Ukraine, tried to seize an American ship just hours earlier. Two fast-moving gunboats and drones chased a U.S.-flagged tanker and destroyed it and ordered it to stop. A U.S. destroyer, the USS McFall, rushed towards the scene and protected this tanker and escorted it to safety. Good, right? Okay, in Gaza, IDF forces from the 7th Brigade are continuing to clear out the terror sites in the southern part of the Strip. During their searches, the soldiers found a large stash of weapons hidden. They located 110 mortar shells, that's kind of bombs, and also several rockets hidden inside blankets and sacks labeled as none other than UNRWA. For those of you who know, UNRWA humanitarian aid. Yeah, UNRWA has been destroyed. The buildings of UNRWA have been destroyed recently by the Israelis. This shows once again how terrorists use international aid groups to hide their tools of war. Gazan sources report that the commander of the northern Gaza Strip Brigade of the Islamic Jihad was killed today, eliminated. Meanwhile, a high-level security meeting between Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and U.S. envoy Steve Witkoff ended on Tuesday after 3 hours of talks. The heads of the Mossad and the Israeli Air Force were in the room to discuss Israel's demands for any deal with Iran. Israel is insisting that Iran must be forced to stop making nuclear material and stop sending weapons to terrorists and also stop the production of missile production, which they're advancing in. Some reports are saying that Israel is putting pressure on the Trump administration to attack Iran's nuclear sites aggressively. President Trump is resisting and says he wants to focus on the upcoming peace talks with Steve Witkoff and Abbas Araghchi, of course, and his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, which is supposed to happen on this Friday. You know, ironically, today's Parshas Yisro. I asked someone if he could compare Trump to a character in the Parshas of the week. If you can do that, let me know. He tried to compare it to Yisro. Yisro has no characteristics to Trump, although he does have a Jewish son-in-law. But the plans for the peace talks between the US and Iran might be falling apart. Iran is now demanding big changes to the meeting, which was supposed to happen in Turkey this Friday. They want to move the talks to Oman and only talk about their nuclear program, while the US wants to talk about Iran's missiles and their support for terror groups like Hezbollah, Hamas, and the Houthis. President Trump has officially signed a new spending bill. Let's talk about the spending bill, shall we? Bringing an end to the partial government shutdown that I announced here yesterday. The president signed this document in the Oval Office yesterday on Tuesday afternoon, calling it a victory for the American people. While the bill funds most of the government until September, it only provides money for the Department of Homeland Security until February the 13th. This sets up another fight over border funding in just 10 days, but changes are already happening. A big change is coming to the immigration crackdown in Minnesota. The White House's the border czar, Tom Homan, who was sent by Trump, announced that this morning that 700 federal immigration agents will be pulled out of the state, effective immediately. Homan says the decision to remove some agents come after local sheriffs and officials agreed to cooperate with federal authorities, unlike they said and did until now. For weeks, local jails in Minnesota refused to tell ICE where illegal immigrants were being released. Now, a deal has been reached where county jails will hold these individuals or notify ICE so they can be picked up safely in custody, rather than having agents chase them on the streets and causing the chaos and havoc that we've been witnessing until now. Back to the new spending bill, shall we? A major part of the deal was the SAVE Act. This law requires people to show proof of citizenship, like a birth certificate or passport, before they can register to vote in federal elections. Senator Chuck Schumer called the plan a disgrace and says the bill is a voter suppression tactic designed to make it harder for millions of Americans to vote. Speaker Mike Johnson said Republicans got the job done. He says anybody who is against the SAVE Act wants illegals to vote in these elections. I mean, an American citizen without a birth certificate is also an American citizen, right? Let's talk about Protobyte. 347-354-1237. That's all you need to know about Protobyte. The number, 347-354-1237. Or you can call them on the WhatsApp numbers right over here. And you can get yourself on 020-3535-6600. Okay, or you can go to www.proto-byte.com. And they are your savior for your business. They can design you apps, systems, and so many difficult applications that you might find difficult, or you can find some Joe Schmo on Fiverr to do this for you and fail, and then come back again to me and ask me where's Protobyte, right? Back to the White House. President Trump also met face-to-face with President Gustavo Petro of Colombia. The two leaders had been attacking each other for months now, but they sat down with Colombian coffee privately at the White House to settle their differences. The leaders focused on resetting U.S.-Colombia relations, discussing drug trafficking, and strengthening security ties with Trump, calling Petro terrific. As usual. Saif al-Salam Gaddafi. Saif al-Salam Gaddafi is the son of the former Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi, who was shot and killed on Tuesday. Gaddafi, his father, was also shot and killed by the Americans. Gunmen broke into a high-security garden in the city of Zintan and opened fire on him. He was only 53 years old. For a long time now, he was the second most powerful person in Libya, and most people thought he would take over the country after his father was killed. After the Libyan government fell in 2011, he was caught and held in prison for many years. He was even sentenced to death, but he was never actually executed. Lately, he was trying to get back into power and was running to be the president of Libya. So far, no group has said they are responsible for the killing, and I know what you guys are thinking. Let's not go down that road, shall we? Okay. Former Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell is in the hospital. He went to a facility in Washington on Monday night because he felt sick with the flu over the weekend. The 83-year-old senator says he went to the hospital just to be safe. McConnell, who fell many times already, physically, led the Republicans in the Senate for many years before stepping down from that role last year. He plans to retire from Congress completely next January, when his term is over. Let's go to a little bit other news. A shocking internal document from Vietnam has just been leaked, revealing that their military is quietly preparing for a possible war with none other than the United States of America. You heard me. The document, titled The Second U.S. Invasion Plan, was written by Vietnam's Ministry of Defense just last year. It warns that Washington is trying to stir up a revolution to overthrow the communist government in Hanoi. This report is a major surprise because publicly, the US and Vietnam have been getting closer. Just a year ago, President Biden upgraded the relationship to a comprehensive strategic partnership. But privately, Vietnam's generals still see the US as a threat to their regime. The document claims that the US wants to use freedom and democracy as weapons to destroy their socialist system from the inside. Handshakes in public, war plans in private. Speaking of handshakes in public and hate crimes in Private, anti-Jewish hate crimes in New York City have gone up since Mayor Mamdani took office. Well, it more went public now. According to new data from the NYPD, anti-Semitic incidents jumped by 182% in January compared to the same time last year. There were 31 recorded hate crimes against Eden last month alone, which means a Jewish person was targeted almost every single day in New York City. This makes Eden the most attacked group in the city by a very large margin. Speaking of the city that never sweeps, like the New York Times just posted. Mamdani can't handle it, Nebuch. Piles of snow and piles of garbage accumulating in the streets of his city. An arrested man faked a heart attack while on a plane and managed to escape. The man had been arrested at the Niagara Falls border between Canada and New York border after police found him hiding in the trunk of a car. While on Delta flight from New York to Israel, the man faked a heart attack. The plane made an emergency landing in Dublin, Ireland, where the man disappeared before police could grab him. He is wanted for fraud. Snack giant PepsiCo announced on Tuesday that it will cut prices by up to 15%. This decision comes after massive consumer complaints where shoppers simply stopped buying what many called the $6 bag of air. Well, I know that because personally buying chips for many years from the same company, noticed that the bag is bigger and the chips are less. So the shop owner actually told me, then the store owner in Israel told me, well, you're flying and you want less weight, so overweight is not a good thing, so here you go. The new lower prices should start appearing in stores on store shelves this week. I also heard from Mattis Gilbert, the founder of RSK, an amazing person, that kosher markets and manufacturing and distributions are let's start again. Kosher market manufacturing and distribution is also changing. Stores like Bingo are already 25 to 35% cheaper. Grocery store prices are on the way down, Be'ezra Hashem Yisborach. Speaking of our golden hearts, like Reb Mattis Gilbert, gold market has gone completely crazy. After a historic crash last week, the gold prices went back up on Wednesday, climbing about $5,000 an ounce. Experts say the panic is over for now, and some banks like JP Morgan are now predicting gold could hit $6,300 an ounce by the end of the year. Meanwhile, the Dow Jones and S&P 500 both dropped a tad on Tuesday, pulled down by tech and healthcare stocks. Maybe it's got to do with Elon Musk's XAI partnering up with his own company SpaceX. You never know. SpaceX, not AX. Investors are getting nervous that the AI boom is costing too much money without making enough profit yet. Let's talk about profit. Your stomach might need a little bit of profit after feeling a little bit hungry, so stop by Shawarma Delight. Get yourself a nice, delicious shawarma. They're open every night till about 10. Thursday night they're open till late. They offer all kind of different Tayameu, Shabbos, delicious delicacies that you might love at Shawarma Delight. Stop by 26 Spring Valley Marketplace. We mentioned Bingo before. Prices have dropped, so when you shop in Bingo, you can stop by Shawarma Delight, get yourself a delicious shawarma, say on edge for a free drink, local delivery if you go into sdny.store. Now, if you want to invest in a building and you ever find a need to borrow some money, YS Capital Group is there for you when you need a loan. The direct lending, fast approvals, the answer is yes, 718-831-2168. Again, the number is 718-831-2168. And rhyming with success, Arrive Express is the most reliable taxi service. Rockland County, 845-622-1111. KJ, 845-254-1111. Now, Purim Saragossa in Aragon, Spain. The interesting fact of today, Yid Zayin Shvat, this is Aragon, this is in Aragon, Spain. In Yid Zayin Shvat, did you know that today is Purim Festival? The story goes back many years ago in Saragossa, Spain, when the king passed through the Jewish community leaders would greet him carrying the Torah cases. Out of respect for the Torah scrolls, they would remove the scrolls and only carry the empty cases. A Jewish enemy named Marcus told the king that the Jews were mocking him by bringing empty Sefer Torah cases. The king became very angry and ordered that at the next parade, set for Yid Zayin Shvat, the cases must be opened, and if they were empty, he would execute the Jews. That night, Eliyahu Hanuvi appeared in a dream to the synagogue, to the shul caretakers, and told them to immediately put the Torah scrolls back inside the cases without telling anyone. And they did so. In the morning, when the leaders came to the king with the cases, he ordered them to be opened. Everyone expected them to be empty. But a miracle happened, and the Torah scrolls were inside. The king realized the Jews had been truthful. Marcus was punished, and the community was saved. They established Yiddish and also put the next day as a festival, as a Yom Tov, Purim Saragossa, for the future generations. Looks like a lot of you have forgotten about this. But in Spain, many Jews' descendants remember this day. So happy Purim to all of you who celebrate this Purim day. And a wonderful day, my friends. We'll see you again next time.
Your daily report of the news of the last 24 hours, powered by Yiddish24, provided to you by The Click.